This video, we will be covering a book called The Conquest of Bread, written by the Peter Kropotkin in year 1892. This book is more like a blueprint of it's talk about when the revolution happens, the dwelling, food, and and clothing need to be the main concern of the society, and the stateless, classless society, classless anarchist community or the community-based society is the end of this revolution. So for this particular book is divided in the 16 chapter. In this particular video, we will be covering the first 8 chapters. So we will begin from the chapter number 1. Chapter number 1 is our riches. In this chapter, he talks about that. All the toil, all the factory, all the invention are done by the humanity. We can't consider that this particular invention is by this person. That's wrong. He says that this idea, this the notion is very ridiculous. All belongs to all because it contains every invention contains the thousand hands and the sleepless nights. We can't concentrated one invention to a one particular person. In a similar way, just take an example like the Yuval Harari, the author of the Sapien and the Homo Deus, a very popular personality. He's in one of his interview. He says that what differentiate human from the other species is we have the capacity to work in a lucrative numbers. Like we can coordinate with each other, and that is very certain to humans only. We can't see the other species to be the to contribute or to communicate in such a lucrative manner. Like humans can communicate and humans can coordinate in a society, and doesn't happen in the any other species. He took the example of the chimpanzees, but that's too very concentrated. Like in them, the coordination level is relatively very low than that of the human. So related to this only, the Peter Kropotkin by the end of the chapter concluded it by saying that there is not even a thought or an invention which is not common property, born of the past or of the present. By this, the chapter number first is complete. Chapter number 2, the well-being of all. In the first chapter, he says that as the everything is the result of the toil of the humanity, so the everything need to be shared by the all. But the picture is not so. This is because of the capitalism. The capitalism lead to the accumulation of the wealth, and because of this, the surplus accumulation of the wealth, there are the millions and or the millions of the people who are the craving and the starving for their basic needs to be fulfilled. So he called the capitalism a failed ideology or a failed system. He says that first he took the example of the French Revolution in order to explain how a true revolution should look like. He called the French Revolution a failed revolution or not a true revolution, because he says that in the French Revolution, by the end of the French Revolution, the people or the intellectual class was being engaged in reforming, reorganizing, restructuring the system rather than the focusing on the people. Their hunger, their dwelling, the clothing need to be the measure or the basic, certainly the basic and the first measure the concern of the intellectual or of the assembly. But that doesn't happen. That's why he called the French Revolution a failed revolution. Further, he says that when a true revolution happens, when the true revolution happens, they will be the first the concern about the people. In order to explain this, he there is a quote. I quote: first time in the history when a true revolution happened, it has been accomplished with a certain the needs of the people before schooling them in their duties. So rather than first the focusing what a particular person has contributed to the society, other like the other economic system, he says that the first the he need to the consider what are the basic need, the system need to be the consider what are the basic need of the people. First the being first need to focus on them, then we will keep those we will do the things to meet those needs. By this the chapter number second is ended. Chapter number 3, the anarchist communism. This chapter is particularly about how the generous the humans are. Like there are the examples, like there are the free libraries, free museums, inventories, the free parks, free meals for the children, uh, free agreements, and the houses, even the government provided houses, and all these the things are arranged in a system, or are arranged in the system, or the agreements that on the very the founded on the principle that take what you need, perhaps rather than the asking what you have done for the society. For example, he says that if in the mutual aid, he refer that the people who are people who are the sinking, those who are people who are the sinking in a boat, and on the other hand the people are the rushing towards them in order to save them. They doesn't ask these peoples, or these sinking peoples, what they have done for the society. All they want to do is to help them, and they do that. But this is very glamorous part of this particular idea. On the other hand, there are the chores, there are the non-glamorous chores which the human doesn't need to doesn't support, or doesn't contribute, uh, and came up together in the similar way as they did in the shrinking ship, or in very agreements, like they are the free donations camp, there are the free plays, or there are the artists who are the playing on the street, and the people do donate to them. And these are the particular examples which he given in the chapter the anarchist communism. And all this happens, and all this work because for the betterment of the need, for the betterment of society, which simply means that the human by nature are not bad, they are not bad, it's just the system in which they are evolved, in which they have evolved, or are been exercising, been the governing, been living, been surviving, is so cruel that they are the meant in that way. At the time of the crisis, the human forget how they were the being particularly that in the fabric, this capitalist fabric, and they work according to their rationalities. It's more like a pragmatic move happens. uh, on the other hand, if we redistribute or the reorganize the society, the society, and redistribute the wealth among the people of the society, it will done the no good, because the exploitation will again begin again, because the system remains same. So what we need is not to redistribute the resources or redistribute the wealth, but we need to finish. We need to finish this wealth, because as they have why there is this exploitation, because those people who are in the position, or those the people who are the haves, they always exploit the have not. Similarly, if they redistribute the thing, then again after a certain period of the time, or in the future, this the phase will again the phase will came again. So it's better, rather than to redistribute the things, it just distribute, or just the arrange in a society in a certain matter, that who need whatever as per the head need, the person the arrange the thing, person the process the thing, and once the demand, or the one's need is fulfilled, the things are again given to the community, means a total cooperative society. Chapter number 8, the ways and the means. After the food and the shelter, it came the leisure. The Kropotkin argues that, and I quote here first, the evil of the present society is therefore not that the surplus the value of the production that goes to the capitalist, as the Marx said, that thus the narrowing the socialist the concept, and the general view of the capitalist the system. The surplus value itself is but a consequence of a deeper cause. The evil lies in the possibility of the surplus values existing instead of the simple example, the surplus not consumed by the each generation or each generation. For that, a surplus value should exist. Means that the men and the women and the children are compelled by the hunger to the sell their labor for a small the portion of what this for this labor produce, and still more so of what they labor is capable of producing. But this even will last as long as the instrument of the production belongs to the few. What he means that the surplus value is in itself is not a evil. What is evil is that the surplus value get generated and get used by the only the well of the section of our society. If the surplus value of which is the generated being used by the whole the society, it is not bad. But the thing is this the surplus value got accumulated by only the well of the section of the society. um, in further he says that it is a case of the product it is a case of the producing the greatest amount of the goods necessary to the well-being of the all, which the leads the possibly the waste to the human energy. Okay, if the whole the surplus value which is the generated is being used for the whole the humankind, then the wastage of the human energy may kind of justified. Further, he said how much time a person they need to produce the nourishing the food or a comfortable house, or to maintain clothing or maintain the necessary clothing for his family. He roughly figure out, and he says that 4 to 5 hours of a day is sufficient for to maintain a and to understood that all the men work, and by the end of this century, this century, the 5 to 6 hour is enough, as all the people are the working 5 to hour is enough to maintain the for to in order to maintain the every person's luxury. After this, the hour of the work they can produce the meat, bread, vegetable, and even the luxury fruit for the whole family. Because the surplus which is generated in the true anarchist society will be circulated among the all. But that's not the situation in a capitalist society. As the surplus goes only in the pocket of the few, this leads the exploitations of the other. And unless and others, the surplus is not bad, but the accumulation of the surplus by the few is a bad. And the Kopochin argue this the point. He says that in this capitalist system, the man is so alienated from the humans are so alienated from their selves, that after this the whole the working the hours, they are the so drained, they are the frustrated, the so exhausted after their work, after their toil, they are not left with any the hour or the time to just to celebrate themselves. Like, for example, imagine a person working 9 to 5 in an office, then after that the person doesn't left for the any energy to even engage or to even the fulfill his or her the pleasure. Says the person have the passion for the writing, or the he is or she is interested in painting, but this at all the working hour are the so drainful, so exhausting, that they are the left they are the just so done, that they are so exhausted, they are the incapable of doing the anything else, and this alienate the person from themselves, from this lead to the alienation of the humans from their the own self. He said that in a society, imagine a society where every children have the access to the education, they have access to the work, they have the access to the education too, and based on their brain. And elders and the children have access to the education too, and their children too. After the work of the 5 hours, which is the bind on the, all of them it all of them, the person is allowed to do whatever they want to do. After the 5 of a work in a day, the person can devote of the time of a day to himself or the herself, like he can devote the time to art, science, individual needs, which does not came under the category of the necessity, but they are necessary to live a healthy life, to live a happy life. And this is really important to maintain a mental state of the human state too. By this, the first 8 chapter of the book, The Conquest of the Bed, are finished.